Okay, so I just got back from South by Southwest, and it is an amazing thing if you've never been to it. First of all, it's a festival, not a trade show. It covers everything from technology to films to music. It's a lot of great panel discussions, a lot of really interesting speakers, a fair amount of beer. But everything there is interesting in that it can be applied to things that we do in our jobs. So today, I want to talk about some of the best takeaways that I found today on the Dice News Update for Friday, March 19th, 2010. So the first panel I went to was about interactive documentaries. It was meant for filmmakers and video producers, but a lot of the discussion really could apply to building effective online documentation for websites or other kinds of applications. So here's my big takeaways. First, linear narration's not going away. You still have to get users from point A to point B, but along the way you can add depth, more details, diagrams, or input from other users. Now, this of course means you're going to have to moderate any comments you get to make sure that everything is accurate and on topic. And to make your interactive components effective, you have to plan for them from the beginning. You have to be ready to build them in during your first pass. You can't just add them with extra material later. So the technical writer's job really is evolving. It might be that you're becoming less a technical writer and more of a documentation producer. Think about it. Okay, now let's talk about prototyping. Michael Leggett and Darren DeLay are user interface designers at Google, and they've got some great ideas about how you can take your ideas and get buy-in from the organization and really good user feedback. Their starting point, the wireframe is dead. They basically sketched out a 4-step process for prototyping, and it goes like this. First, build a slideshow prototype that works in a browser. There's no coding required here. It's just a simple demo. Then make a video, something like a 3-minute screencast that shows you using the slideshow as if it's a real application. The advantage here is it's easy to pass this around for others to look at their leisure. The third step, build a hotspot prototype. You script in several options so you can show off how different features will actually work. And finally, build an HTML prototype. This is where a user could enter some data, click a button to see a result, even have to wait for the app to save data to a server. It's designed to mimic the experience they'd have using the real product in the real world. And what tools do they use to do all this? Just HTML, CSS, and a little JavaScript. Nothing fancy. Someone on Twitter pointed out that this approach really isn't about prototyping. And that could be true, but I have to have that discussion with a beer in front of me. So one up-and-coming buzzword I heard in Austin was coworking. This is about virtual teams, about home workers who want to get out of the house every once in a while, and about independent contractors who are looking for basic support and the chance to interact with real humans as opposed to virtual ones. Somebody said that co-working is more relevant now because of the recession, and I think that's probably true because so many people have been laid off and are independent contractors whether they want to be or not. So a lot of the discussion touched on what I thought of are more working trends than just co-working itself. So here's what I thought. First, the future of work is competitive. You're always going to have to show off your value. And the competition is no longer limited by where you live. If a company can find a qualified, cheaper programmer in, say, Lackawanna, they're going to hire him. Standing out is going to become even more important. Remember, someone looking to hire isn't going to just stumble across your website, no matter how talented you are. You've got to get their attention. And work is going to become more on demand. Ultimately, companies want to hire the talent they need when they need it. Keeping somebody on payroll when they don't need their skills is going to be a lot like paying for a parking space when you don't have workers on site. At least that's the way a lot of managers may look at it. So one last thought about South by Southwest. If you've ever thought about going there but you haven't gone yet, you probably should go. It's a good use of time. You'll come away really energized and you'll get a lot of good ideas. I hope I'll see you there next year. Anyway, that's it for this week. Kat Miller's going to be back on Wednesday with another edition of Dice TV, and I'll be here on Friday. Until then, I'm Mark Pfeffer, Managing Editor of Dice News, and we now return you to your regular desktop.